guys. Gotta move everybody. Sorry about this. This is all new for me on this part. Here we go. All right. So just a little bit about myself first. I'm obviously Kelly Hatcher, and I am a teacher, first off. And I've been teaching for, gosh, 28 years now. That seems like forever. I'm also a school counselor, so I work with the emotional behavioral end of counseling. I've been doing that for around 26 years. I have obviously these are long ago pictures. They're 20 and 22 right now. My oldest son, Jake, is unfortunately still struggling with addiction. His drug of choice right now is heroin. I am a certified family recovery coach and interventionist. And as of today, I'm proud to say my son is, I believe it's 57 days in recovery, living in a sober living house and working his program, which for this is his 14th program, but this is the longest he's lasted in a program. So my fingers are crossed, and I am just praying that he continues to be on this program of sobriety. I started a business helping families deal with recovery because addiction is a family disease. And for the last year, I have been co-hosting a podcast with my best friend, Mel, who's actually on here as well. So I'm kind of all over the place, but my heart is with families struggling with addiction. And we all know that with addiction comes wondering, are you loving your kids? Are you struggling with, am I enabling them too much? So I kind of searched around and looked for definitions. And I know this sounds kind of cheesy, but Dr. Phil, this is what I think an enabler is. It's a person who's acting out of sincere love, loyalty, and concern, steps in to protect, cover up, make excuses for, or become more responsible for the person. And I don't know about you, but this is me. This is me 100%. I unfortunately am constantly trying to save both of my kids. And this has started from a long time ago. Here's another one. This was off of Healthline. Someone whose behavior allows a loved one to continue self-destructive patterns of behavior. Last one is through a safety magazine, which I actually like this magazine. I'm wondering, Jeff, if you subscribe to this magazine. Someone who helps negate the consequences brought on by someone else's behavior. And again, this could be, I look at this from back when my kids were in elementary school. I can think of certain situations where I didn't even allow my child to figure things out. I was constantly fixing it for them so they didn't have to stress or work at anything, which nowadays I'm just curious where you guys are falling in this. So here's a couple questions that I want you just to kind of think about, and I want you to pause and be honest with yourself, because I can justify why I enabled every single time. There was always a reason I justified it, which now looking back, I regret, because I wish I would have just had them struggle a little bit more on certain areas of their life. So do I blame myself for their actions? And if they were obnoxious, or if, for myself, at first I was going through a divorce during Jake's addiction. So of course the divorce was the reason. I blamed myself. That's why he was using. Obviously, that I've learned to let that one go. Do you lie or cover up their behavior? So I was really good at covering up and acting like it was not a big deal. I was able to handle it and not have to worry about telling anybody the truth, because that was embarrassing to me. And I didn't want people to judge me because of my son's behavior. Do you put their needs before your own? Well, I think if we're parents, we do that 100% of the time. We are always putting our kids before our own needs. And honestly, I struggled putting this one in here because for me, I think that's beautiful. And I was the queen of bragging about, oh, you know what? I'm not going to go work out because I have to make them breakfast, or I'm not going to go out with my girlfriends because I have to do this. I always 100% put their needs before my own. And then I learned this magical word called self-care that I'm still working on. Don't get me wrong, I'm still working on it. But that actually helped me realize that I have to take care of myself before I can take care of anybody else in my life. I think there's a saying, if mama's not happy, nobody's happy. I didn't know what that meant. I honestly, I never needed to be happy because I needed to make everybody else happy in my world. Do you have a hard time saying no to them? I am really good at saying no now, but for years, if my son called me, and he was homeless in Portland for a while, and he called and told me he was starving and he was going through trash cans, and anyone, if you know someone who's dealing with addiction, you know they are the best, excuse my language, but they are the best bullshitter around. They are so good at lying and pulling on your heartstrings. So it's so easy to say, okay, I'm going to send you a card to go get food. Obviously, I did that hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of food, which again, now, if you're hungry, I guarantee you, if you go to a detox, if you go in, you can get food wherever you need to go to get help. And when it's our children and they're little and they want something, we want to be the good guy. We will say yes, when honestly, sometimes it's more important to say no to them. Do you make excuses or justify for their behavior? Heck yeah. I think we talked about this one already. I can justify why Jake started using drugs many, many times over. I can justify why my child was screaming in the grocery store. I can justify why they have so many episodes at school. They're going through different issues. It's very easy for me to justify why they're doing what they're doing. Here's a big one. If you have adult children, are you supporting them financially when they should be on their own? Now, here's the thing. If they're in college or they're working full time and they're helping around the house, 100% help is great. But if they are in their 20s, 30s, and they're living with you, they're not paying rent, they're not cooking, they're not cleaning, there's a problem there. You should not be financially supporting them. And you kind of have to look back at yourself. Where were you at their age? Were you living on your own, or were you living with your parents? That kind of plays a big part of this for our families. And do you continue to endure your loved one's addiction, even though it's ruining both of your lives? So obviously this one is strictly for the addiction part of it, but I think you can actually take this part as well and wonder, are you helping yourself by enabling your child, your little child, and not allowing them to create problems in their life so they can grow from them. So here's a good one for me. I did this from when they were little kids. We're at the maybe at a restaurant, and the waiter asks, "What do you want, honey?" I would order their food for them. If that is you, did you start this back in the day when you didn't allow your own child to speak in public? You spoke for them? Do you wake them up for school? Do you wake them up if they have to go to work? If you have a child and they have their own phone, shocking enough, there's an alarm on their phone. They should be waking themselves up for school. I have friends that still will wake up their child who are adults and let them know you've got 10 minutes before you need to come downstairs. We are creating this enabling reaction that our kids are going to be late to everything if we continue to support them in the wrong way. So here's the thing. It takes incredible strength to be honest with yourself. If you are doing too much, we're not helping our kids. We are creating children that are not able to live on their own, make their own decisions. We are seeing kids, I mean, there's so many statistics that kids that go to college, they can't complete college. Well, I'm taking away COVID for a second, but most kids, even before COVID, in the last decade, their schooling is going on for 5 years because they get into situations where they don't know how to handle the problems. If they get an F, they give up. So many of my friends, their students, their children have left college because it was too tough or their anxiety was overwhelming and they didn't know how to handle the day-to-day problems. So right now, if you're here with me today, congratulations, because you're taking that step of realizing, maybe taking those blinders off just a tad and realizing we need to take a step back and let our children struggle, let them find out who they are and can they solve these problems for themselves. I'm not saying that you need to stop and say, oh, you're on your own, tough love, this is it. That's not it, because there is so much love you can still give without enabling. So if you are an enabler, know that you're doing this out of love. Your love is huge. And that's beautiful to me. That's so beautiful. But unfortunately, it doesn't help your child improve their behavior. It doesn't help them with their self-confidence and becoming a successful adult, whatever successful means to you or to them. So we have to now make sure that when we're enabling these kids, we are teaching them this opportunity to learn intrinsic motivation, which is critical in developing the accountability. And for me as a counselor, self-confidence is huge. If our kids are not feeling confident in who they are not going to be able to take that next step of adulthood. And if they are struggling with addiction, this is a huge thing that I wish more of the rehabs, the recoveries, the PHPs, the IOPs, all of the acronyms, that they would work on our kids' self-confidence and building them up, that they feel confident to be able to beat their addiction. So this to me is a huge, huge part of my research. When I'm researching this enabling, I'm seeing that the destruction that I'm creating is enormous, because why would my son want to leave if I allow him to live here for free, if I am cooking his meals, waking him up to go to work, if I'm doing all of this beautiful mom stuff that I feel really good about doing, I'm creating a monster. I am creating this monster, or I'm fueling this monster to never want to change because it's good. It's really good here. So I had to take a lot of steps back and open my eyes to realize that I I can't allow him. One, he cannot live in my house any longer. He honestly doesn't know where I live right now, because I've moved in the time frame he's been in his rehab, and I don't know when that will be that I will even allow him to visit here. But taking that step and realizing that I can't keep giving everything to my children is huge. And I'm not talking just about my child who struggles with addiction. I'm also talking about my child who's home right now from college for a few more weeks, and not allowing him, like, he had to make me dinner last night. You don't get a free ride. Even though you're home, he's washing his own clothes. He has to cook meals as well and help clean as well. I had to stop enabling and giving him as well everything he needs in his life. So learning to help them build their self-confidence for me is the biggest part of this. So first, I'm going to give you a couple ideas to help you stop and realize that this isn't going to happen overnight. This is not a light switch. It's kind of like addiction. If I wish I could just flip a switch and Jake would stop using, it would be beautiful. But I know this is going to be an ongoing, that I have to work and I have to be consistent and still loving, but not enabling. So here's a couple things. If you have a young child, making sure that they can try things that maybe might be out of your comfort zone, but if they're in a safe environment, allowing them to try things. I loved that I saw, oh, there's something on my screen. I saw this little quote here. Basically, allow your kids to dog paddle for a while, but letting them know that you'll throw them the life jacket when it's time. So in my head, when I saw this, I was picturing, I throw the life jacket before they even get into the pool. Like, there's a life jacket right there, right next to you. So when you think that you're scared, jump on. I would change that now. I like this. I want them to struggle a little in life. I don't want them to drown, of course not. But I want them to know you're capable. You can do this. And you can do this on your own. I'm not going to save you this time. Stop fixing the problems. So if your children are coming to you and they're telling you about this horrible situation, my first thing was always, let me fix it. I can tell you, my kids from kindergarten, my son didn't like his kindergarten teacher. I changed his teacher. Then he didn't like the school. I changed his school. What in the heck was I doing? Like, my kids in elementary went to 5 different places, and we didn't move one time. Not one time did we move. I just kept thinking I would find the perfect fit for them instead of figuring out and brainstorming what are the problems. So if you have the high school kid and they're complaining about another kid, a teacher, their boyfriend, it's brainstorming with them, helping them understand, okay, what's the problem? Give me some pros, give me some cons. How can you fix this problem? Instead of stepping in and fixing the problem for them. That's a huge one for me. And I try and do that now with both of my boys. If they're calling me with a problem, I try to just brainstorm with them, talk it through. What can I do? If they are living in your home, you need to create rules and consequences. So for me, there was a time when, this was before the last time Jake relapsed, but he lived with me for a period of 9 months. He was on Suboxone the entire time. And unfortunately, I was handing him his Suboxone every single morning, but I created rules and consequences. And there were only 4 of them. You don't need a huge, you know, sheet of paper with, here are the 50 rules of our house. But the things that mean the most to you, because it is your home, what are going to be the rules and what are the consequences? Create a contract with them and make sure that you are strong enough that when they screw up, because they are going to screw up in life, that you can fulfill the consequence. So for me, it has happened now twice that I had to kick my son out of the house. And honestly, now there won't be another time that he will live with me, because shame on him the first time, but shame on me the second time that I allowed him back in my house. And where my problem was is pulling out his pillowcase because someone was going to stay at our house, and the 30 needles that came out of the pillowcase afterwards when I thought he was sober, and I had to kick him out again. So you have to be able to be strong enough to have consequences. If you have little kids, obviously that's the taking away things that mean something to them. But if it's an adult and they are in your home, that would be probably giving them a time frame or getting them out of your house. Don't take responsibility for the issues that don't belong to you. I honestly have this on a sticky on my mirror in my bathroom. Every single morning, I see this. Every single night, I see this. It is so, I'm a fixer. I fix things for everybody. And I live by the train. So if you hear the train, don't jump on board right now. I love fixing. It fuels me. It makes me feel good. That's why I got my master's in counseling. I love helping people. But it's learning to step back, listen to their problem, brainstorm with them, and not fix it for them. You're going to feel guilty. If you're anything like me, you're going to feel guilty about this. And it's okay, because I've had the finger pointed. This is all your fault. I relapsed because of you. I've been told I relapsed because of your enabling, Mom. You made me do this. And I took it of, holy crap, this is all my fault. No, it's not. This is your child who has to, it belongs to them. It does not belong to you. So to be able to take that step back and realize you did not create this. Their monster is their monster. Whether it's a little monster or a huge monster, it's theirs. It is not yours. And please try to work on that self-care so you're not feeling guilty about their mistakes. So we kind of talked about this earlier, that if your child's old enough and they can live on their own, but you're allowing them to live with you, you're feeding them, you're doing their laundry, you're doing all of this, again, here's that contract. Jake paid me to live at this house. So not this house, my previous house. He paid me $400 a month. He couldn't find a room in this area for $400 a month, but that included his food. It included everything. I still have that money in a savings account for him because, you know, you may use it for your own bills, but my idea in my head was going to be that when he gets to a point that hopefully one day he is on his own and he needs a down payment, that I may be able to help him. Well, then I thought, wait, is that enabling him then as well? So now I'm not going to give him that money. I've decided I will keep that for an emergency if something happens. But if he's able to live on his own, he's going to have to save up his money to make that down payment or first and last months. You have to be strong enough to make those decisions of what will you allow and what won't you allow in your child's life. here's something that, another one that I just giggle and laugh because I have done all of this. When you and I were kids, we made a list for Christmas of what did we want to get for Christmas. And we may have gotten one or two things. If you ask majority of the kids that I know now, what do you want for Christmas? They don't even know, because as parents, we have been giving it whatever they wanted throughout the whole year. Amazon has been the most, I think Amazon, I should have bought stock in Amazon, because anything I needed, I just went on 2 seconds later, it was ordered, and then 48 hours, it showed up at the house. Kids do not hope and pray and get excited thinking they might get something because we give it to them. Here is this silver platter entitlement world we are living in that kids don't have to struggle. So for me, I know that you're going to save up and get it when you need it. If you're a child, if you're doing allowances, they better have chores, not just giving them free money, but allowing them to make those mistakes. And the last one here is healthy boundaries. Kids are so verbal now. The shut up, the stupid, you're a bitch, whatever it may be, it is crazy with the verbal, hopefully not the physical, but there are kids, especially if they're dealing with addiction, physical gets involved, and then emotional abuse. We need to make sure that we're not allowing our loved ones to speak to us, to harm us, to put things in our head that will be abuse. All of these are abuse. So figuring out what are your healthy boundaries. If you have a little kid, it's time out for sure. If you have a teenager, you yank that car away, you yank that phone away. But if it's an adult living with you, you need to either be calling 911, or I shouldn't say adult, because I've called 911 on my own son numerous times when he was in high school. So you have to be strong enough to know that it's maybe embarrassing, it may be hurtful, it may be cost you a lot of money, but you have to have those healthy boundaries to take care of yourself, because otherwise they once again have wanted you over. We have to be able to say no to our kids, whether they're a grown, whether they're a child. Hearing the word no is going to help you. I love this one. I saw this. We would have no problem if an 8-year-old said, Mom, can I have the keys to the car? You would have no problem saying no to that child. So we need to be able to say no with other situations as well, and feel okay and confident that you're making the right decision, even if it's not the decision they want to hear. This is huge about being consistent. It's going to take years to be consistent. And I mean, this is my life goal now, is being consistent on what I'm doing and what I'm saying to both of my kids, and realizing I'm never, ever going to say, okay, this is the last time. Okay, one more chance. You get one more chance. I'm done. I'm done with those things, because the only person it is harming is my loved one and myself. That's it. Those are the only people that we are affecting by saying, okay, one more try. You'll get it this time. Inside, those kids are getting, I did it again. I got him again. So getting the support you need is huge. Whether you get a coach, whether you're going through counseling, maybe if you are dealing with addiction, you're doing Al-Anon, Nar-Anon, Facebook groups. There's some great Facebook groups to get support for you. So my love for you would be, talk to somebody, get the support you need. this is me. This is my new development, is creating my business of New Day Family Recovery. If you ever need to reach out, I'm here. I would love to help you in this journey, because I know personally the struggles it takes while doing this. I'm living this. This is my life, but I'm learning every single day. And don't get me wrong, I am going to make mistakes every single day, but this is my road. This is my journey. And I'm so thankful that you came here with me today. Thanks, Mel. I love that you are here, and I know Melissa was answering questions for me, because I'm still learning how to play this game of learning how to do chat. You'd think being ADD, I could do it, but I so stink at that part. So, is there anything anybody wants to ask questions? Anything I can answer for you? I know, Mel, you were answering. Was there anything in there, Mel, that I should answer?
I wasn't answering questions. I was talking a lot. What a shocker, right? So yeah, no, I was just mentioning like a couple of things. Like I was just agreeing with you pretty much on everything. And I was just saying like, it is a tough one for me. Like it's so expensive in California. And like, I know that my 21-year-old who is working 2 jobs and trying to save up to get a car, and like he would love to go out and get a place with roommates. They've looked at it and it's just so expensive. So then, you know, it's just this struggle. It's like, just stay here. It's fine that you stay here. I don't care that you stay here. He does make his own food. Sometimes we have family dinners, but he has a pretty busy schedule. So he's not home all the time. He does his own laundry, you know, washes his own car, like all that stuff. But I do think it can be really tough between like really knowing like it's good what you're doing or you're doing too much.
Well, and you know, I'm not going to say that you were just justifying all that information, but it kind of sounded like a little justifying there.
It's a lot of justifying. Yeah. What's that?
Does he pay you rent?
Nope.
Okay. So, you know, you may want to say, hey, I know you're trying to get ready to move out eventually. Why don't we do this? You give me $300, $400 a month, and you hold it for him, and you're teaching him about this is what rent's going to look like. And then at the end, then you take that money, and that could be his, you know, first and last month, teaching him those skills. Like if there's a learning in it, it's not enabling. It's though of just, wait, yeah, I've been to your house, girl. I know he's got, a beautiful life living there. But teaching him something in that beautiful life, that then is you're teaching, you're not enabling. So
well, and that's good. And I should do that. I think that's a great suggestion. I also, because obviously you and I talk a lot, but I loved the example that you gave when you were talking about Ian needs to find a new doctor. And I had asked you about that. And I was like, because you're like, I need to call on some doctors. And I'm like, okay, but you're calling on doctors, like, how is that going to work? What does that look like? So like, I think you should share that experience, because I thought what you did, it's like a nice balance. It is teaching.
I don't want to be, and I know I don't know some of you, but I don't want to be a bitch all the time, but I need to be strong in being a mom. And so for me, my other son is 20-year-old and he's a type 1 diabetic. And he's no longer a child, so he needs a new endocrinologist for his diabetes. Well, he's 20. HIPAA law won't let me call the doctor and give all the information. He is an adult. If you looked at him, he would literally be crawling across the floor right now, trying to act like he's being sneaky. Like he's not an adult in his head. But I found 3 doctors and I gave him the numbers and I said, you need to do your research. You need to call them. You need to look at the reviews and figure out how you're going to make your appointment. So I did my research of the 3 that were closest that had good ratings, but then it was his responsibility. So I will help him, but I'm not going to make the phone calls. I'm not going to sit next to him while he talks to the doctor. I told him what he's going to need, his insurance, but he has to do it. So whether it's addiction or it's non-addiction, giving them some boundaries and giving them support is truly huge in having them grow. I mean, Ali, I saw you wrote something in here. It's your younger brother. Your family disagrees with your boundaries. I'm at my house, including Christmas, and will not attend events. Court ended rehab. I can tell you, the holidays are the hardest for addicts. They're the hardest. They're hardest for the families as well, because everyone's walking on eggshells during that time. Like, they go use the bathroom. Okay, do you have anything in the medicine cabinet? Are they going to be in the medicine cabinet? Or uncle's drinking and he leaves it on the counter and someone else is going to see it. Is he going to grab it? So the whole holidays, I hate the holidays with addiction in my family. I hate it.
Yeah.
So that's a huge struggle right there. But then you want to love them and support them. It's a hard situation. And my biggest thing, Ali, I would say on that one is talking with your family before a family gathering, that you're all on the same page. Talk about these are the rules, these are the boundaries, and sticking with that. And if they can't abide by what you're asking them, then it's hard, but then you don't go.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I think where I made the mistake was I talked to my parents, and because my parents hosted us for Christmas Eve. And so I was on the same page with my parents, but one of my other brothers, I guess, learned about everything after the fact, and he's mad at me. And I just keep trying to explain to him, like, this isn't really for you to decide. Like, this is and I'm kind of struggling with this. Like, he feels like I'm isolating the brother, the other brother that's struggling, and like, I'm not helping him. But I'm like, I'm not trying to tell them what they need to do. I'm just saying, look, these are my boundaries. You just need to respect that. But then also now I'm second guessing, like, am I isolating him? And like, I told him, like, I'll help in tangible ways. If you find another rehab to go to and you need a ride, I'll give you a ride. And I gave him a number for a place that said they had availability soon, like a really short wait list. I sent him a number, but like, yeah, I'm just struggling with that. There's like tension in my family right now because my brother disagrees with my boundaries. Essentially, he won't say that, but that's essentially what's going on.
Well, Ali, the biggest thing I can tell you right now is working on your thoughts and the way you're looking at things, because you don't have any control of what anybody else, including your brothers who's talking to you, you don't have control of what he thinks. Right. That's his thoughts. So you're just going to have to, I know it's family and it's like,
right,
at the tightrope, but getting to understand that that's his thoughts. Those are, you have no control. You can try and explain and justify and, I mean, even beg, cry, I've done it all. Like,
right.
It's you have to be confident in what you decide and be okay with whatever anybody else. I mean, it's kind of, like, your friends, if they don't like who you are, screw them. Like, they're not true people that you need, because that's just going to poison you and it's going to make you doubt yourself. I can hear it. So I mean, working on, it's okay. If that's the way you feel, that's okay, hon. I still love you, but let me tell you what I'm going to do.
Yeah. And yeah, thank you. Because that's really validating. That's what I've been trying to do. And that's what my support system has really been helping me to do. But yeah, still just kind of like, I didn't expect this from the brother that's given me the problem. Is usually like really low key. So kind of blindsided, but it's helpful to know that I'm trying to like remind myself that my boundaries are my boundaries, that they're not for anyone else to approve, but it's helpful to know that they're not ridiculous and I'm not isolating the addict. I will help. So that's helpful to know. Thank you.
Keep pushing yourself. I mean, definitely it's our thoughts. And I mean, that is a huge part of dealing with this, is learning to be okay with your decision and just feel good about it, because that self-care of taking care of yourself, eventually other people are going to, like, she's got it, man, Allie's killing it now. So be who you are, babe. That's where I go on this one.
Thank you.
You are welcome. All right. I just wanted to thank you guys for coming today. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. If you ever need anything, please reach out to me at my website or on any social media platforms. I'm going to keep doing classes like this. Hopefully they'll be around 30 minutes. This one went over. I'm sorry, but I'm going to try and stick to 30 minutes. If you have any suggestions for me, please reach out. I'd love to hear it, but I really appreciate you all being here today. Thank you, bunches and bunches. Have a beautiful weekend. Thank you.